So how do we work with depression and low mood within therapeutic coaching? The first thing to say is that depression, low mood is really a blanket label for an inner experience. And that inner experience can be different in different people. If someone is suffering from severe clinical depression, it may not be appropriate to work with them as a therapeutic coach unless you have other training that also gives you the credentials, the qualifications to do that. But if we're talking about someone that is struggling with periods of low mood, the first thing that we need to do is we need to do what we call mapping the issue in therapeutic coaching. Or put another way, we need to decode what's going on. Because there is not one thing that causes a state of low mood or one thing that causes a state of depression. And in therapeutic coaching, we use our matrix where we're looking at the mental, the emotional, and the physical bodies. And we want to map what's happening in each of those, which is then impacting the mood of that person. So for example, in the mental body or the cognitive patterns, it could be certain belief systems. Someone believes it's not possible to create change. They have what we call a low locus of control, low sense of their ability to impact change in their life. It could be that someone has made meaning about certain things that have happened. Maybe they've lost their job and applied for various jobs and they keep kind of failing to get past the first stage. They now have a belief that they're never going to get another job and the life therefore feels that it's never going to be different, it's never going to change. It could be the inner critic, that critical voice that we all have to a certain degree inside of our mind. So there's much more than this, but it could be something happening at a cognitive or a mental level. But it could also be what's happening at an emotional level. People tend to think about depression as someone feeling sad all of the time. In therapeutic coaching, what we recognize is depression is often an absence of feeling, not an excess of feeling. It's often a feeling of numbness. It's a feeling of pointlessness, a feeling of emptiness, a feeling of hopelessness. That is often the result of our heart being defended. We talk in therapeutic coaching about the 6 emotional defenses, ways that we've learned to defend against or push away or to not feel our feelings and emotions. And so we would map this with the client, an example being avoidance and distraction. Is that client always avoiding or distracting themselves away from feeling? We can't close our hearts selectively. So when we shut down to feeling sadness, we also shut down to feeling joy. When we shut down to feeling our rage or our anger, we also shut down our life force and our strength and our power. So part of the journey out of depression is often a journey to feeling more, not a journey to feeling less. We then look at the physical body. This could be our somatic body, how we're storing our emotions in our sort of physical self. And that can be sort of trapped anger, rage, or whatever it may be. But also our physical body in terms of physical functioning. And although in therapeutic coaching, we don't go into treating these pieces directly, we may signpost people. For example, depression can be as simple as low blood sugar or non-addressed digestive issues or many, many things. But if the physical body is out of balance, that's going to affect how we feel in our mind, in our emotions, and in our mood. So in therapeutic coaching, we're not just going, there's depression, this is the intervention. We're decoding, we're mapping what's happening for that client and then responding directly to that. That can come down to potentially teaching people ways of interrupting unhelpful thought patterns or regulating the nervous system or learning to build emotional safety to be able to feel feelings and emotions or moving and helping process stored emotion in the physical or somatic body. So when we have that capacity to map, to decode, we have a much higher success rate than we might otherwise have because we're not working with everyone as though they're the same. We're personalizing the approach to that individual. If you'd like to find out more about training to become a therapeutic coach, you can go to therapeuticcoaching.com. You can sign up for a free webinar and also book a discovery call to speak to one of our team to explore if this training may be right for you.